Hi, so we're here at the Eurovision conference in Maynooth, and I'm speaking to Michael Kealy, the head of delegation for Ireland.
How you doing, Padraig?
Nice to meet you, finally.
Yeah.
So I think firstly, while it's on your mind, you were over in Portugal at the head of delegation meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
Were there any big takeaways from that?
Well, of course, there's lots of technical information to give us about the stage and about the just the logistics of how your delegation is going to be dealt with when you get to Lisbon at the end of April. So a lot of very useful information from that point of view. A lot of useful information around the staging as well, and in terms of the lighting setup, the camera setup, that type of thing. A lot of stuff that we can go away and have a think about and sort of finesse our final staging, just with what we've learned from that. The great thing about Eurovision these days is that we tend to meet the same people year in, year out. So it's great to know that we've got people there that we trust and like, and that have got our interests at heart as well.
Okay, and then one thing I think what a lot of people are going to be wondering is, among the fans at the moment, there's kind of an outcry that there's no LED screens. And so what's the general feeling? Are the broadcasters okay with that, or would they like them?
Do you know, it's a creative challenge for us, and I think, like we like, certainly I like a challenge, and not having screens or LEDs certainly gives you a bit of a challenge in terms of what you can do, and obviously it means you have to think about your act in a different way. And the only thing I suppose is that a lot of people will be thinking about props now, because it's now a kind of everything is focused on the stage. You've nothing really in terms of supporting graphics behind you. Graphics and LED is not disallowed if you bring that as part of your prop.
Okay.
But if you bring it as part of your prop, you're responsible for it in its entirety. You can't rely on anybody in Portugal to help you if that goes wrong. So some countries may be thinking of doing that. Some countries may be thinking of bringing their own graphic content integrated into various props and stuff. But I'm not sure that's a road we're going to go down.
Okay.
But it's a challenge. But it's a good challenge in a way.
And then, of course, Ryan O'Shaughnessy is representing Ireland. His song is Together. It was released last week.
Yep.
But before we talk about that, there was a whole kind of a new process for RT to select that song. So how did that work?
Yeah, well, you were at our Eurovision forum in the summer, where I think it was a very, very kind of useful thing to do, and I think we'll probably do it again this summer, hopefully. Well, basically, one of the things that I took from that, having listened to the people who were there, was that the songwriters wanted a longer period in which to be able to send in songs. Like we had quite a short period. We had about a 3-week period in the past. Used to start at maybe first week in December and finish at the end of December, and we'd choose a act then after that. That's in more recent years. So what the other takeaways I took from that was that we were far too restrictive in we just had one panel, and possibly two in the past that kind of sifted these things. I got a number of different panels this time. I got a bunch of people in from BIM, young students in from BIM to go through them. I got a panel of journalists. I got 2 panels of journalists, and I sent it out to a few international people as well. Yeah. And we had we collated a final shortlist of 10 from that. And we had a final panel that selected the winning song from that,
And then
So it was a much broader selection. In terms of the panels that we had, it's a much broader selection process. And I think that actually stood to us, I think it was a much better way of doing it, And it's not perfect. There's never a perfect way of doing these things.
But then it's just the first year, so I suppose you can only
It's the
go
first
up.
year, yeah. And of course, I'll learn lessons from that, and we'll do things, hopefully improve on them. Obviously the fans would love to see us do a Melody Festival style show, and look, I'm a television producer. I want to do that myself, but the times being what they are in RTE, it's just
so
not
I suppose
feasible
baby steps at the moment.
Yeah, I would hope to get. My ideal situation is to have a standalone Eurosong type competition that would be not just one night, that might be held over several, qualifying shows as well. That's a pipe dream at the moment, given the financial situation now in RTE,
And then, obviously, RTE in the press release have said that Ryan came through the open submissions and Together, but you at the same time were also kind of hedging your bets, saying that you could, if the song quality wasn't up to scratch, you'd approach other people. And did that happen in the end, or did you stick
No,
with
he came through the process. The song was submitted with him as a singer by Hamlet Sweeney through the open through the open process. I did, to be honest, have chats with other artists, from who I think who I thought are really good, and I think would still be very good to represent Ireland in the future, But but for various reasons those didn't really work out. We're all anybody I was speaking to, we're all still the best of friends, and the door isn't certainly closed at any stage to revisiting that maybe in the future, But no, that the song came through the open process.
Yeah, and then a lot of people kind of are maybe disappointed. Some people online that it's quite similar, that it's not a million miles away from Brendan Murray or Molly Sterling, and that you have a new path, but that it's bringing you back to the same place. And what would your response be to that?
Well, that is true, yeah. And I can understand why people would say that. Like, at the end of the day, we only have the songs we get sent in to work with, by and large. The people don't believe me when I say that the standards in the past, and including now the process that we started in 2017, the songs that we get in are very much a mixed bag. I would say 1 in 10 is a credible song, a credible entry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wannabes out there. There's a lot of people who are hobbyists who have no track record in writing music, no track record in songwriting, but yet who feel that Eurovision is a great place to kick off their musical career. I'm trying to change that perception. This is a top professional international competition. I want top professionals involved. I don't want people who are who think this is a great place, as I say, to start a career, who they've never written a song before, but they feel entitled maybe to have their first effort chosen to represent Ireland. So that doesn't stop people entering songs or sending them in to me.
And you have to listen to all of them.
And we have to listen to all of them, yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'm hoping that if we keep with the path that we've been on at the moment, where we've had a succession now of very good entries, obviously mixed results, no doubt about it, and can't make any bones about the fact that our track record in the last 5 years hasn't been great. But at the same time, there's a lot of expectation on Ireland because we've won it so many times.
Yeah.
But it's a tough competition. And if you look at the Portuguese, they've been at it for 50 years before they won, So that's them's the odds, you know what I mean? Like, so to expect to win it every year is unrealistic. To expect to qualify is, a definite goal.
Yeah. And obviously, all of Ireland wants to qualify at this stage. We're kind of hungry for the final.
Yeah.
And is this new, the Eurovision Forum and the whole panel process, will you keep that even if things don't go as planned?
I think it's a better way of choosing the song at the end of the day. I mean, I know some people give out about the fact that the public don't have a say in what we do, and that is true. But one of the things I did before we arrived at this process is I looked at what other countries were doing, and a lot of other countries who were, like us, not enjoying great results, decided to opt for internal selection, and we take back much more control when we do that. When you ask the public what they think of various songs, you don't necessarily always get the answer you want, and that's a problem too. To be honest, to go back to the ballad thing, I think that's. I think we've got a very good ballad this year. I actually think we've got a very good song. I think it's something that, like, we definitely do very well in Ireland. We don't have a tradition of pure pop music like a lot of other European countries have. We tend to have a kind of a more of a rock, indie kind of tradition, and we do very well in that arena with people like Hozier and The Script and U2, and you can name whoever you want. But that's necessarily not pure pop that's suitable for Eurovision. So we don't have that same tradition of pop music, but we do have a very good ballad tradition, and that's what we do well. So I think this is a really good song. I hope other people think that is too. That it's a good song, but we have to wait and see.
And speaking of the song and kind of the package, a lot of people will have noticed that the music video, it's very much focused on there's a gay couple. And is that something that it's just going to be the music video, or do you plan on kind of making it a core part of the Eurovision package?
I think there's been a great reaction to the video. It's a classic love story. I mean, it's a universal theme of love. It could be two men, it could be two women, it could be a man and a woman, it could be, a dog and a cat.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a universal theme of love. I think that is something that I would be surprised if you didn't see it translated to the stage in some way.
Okay.
You know, that's our challenge now.
There's kind of been rumours online and on social media that Russia are threatening to block that. At the moment, is that just rumours, or have the Irish delegation heard word?
As far as I'm concerned, it's just a rumour. Nobody has said anything to me about banning the video or blocking it online or whatever. Like, you know, but I mean, I would be disappointed if that was the case. But so far, it's just a rumour.
Okay. And so then, obviously, there's going to be a lot of work between now and Lisbon. And do RT kind of have a PR strategy? Are you going to go to any of the preview events, or is it just going to be Lisbon?
No, there was a time when I didn't really appreciate the full value of doing these pre-Eurovision events. I've changed my mind about that. I think there's a definite advantage to doing them. Last year we did it with Brendan. We took him to a few different countries, and I think it was good for acclimatising him, just to, you know, in terms of what to expect when he got to Eurovision. It also meant that he got to know a lot of his fellow contestants as well, which is a good thing too. So we're definitely planning on doing a few of them. We're not going to do them all, and we just can't physically do them all. But certainly London, Amsterdam, some of the Tel Aviv, some of the really big ones, you'll definitely find us there. Madrid and Portugal, I think we're going to do as well. Not just because they're voting in our final or in our semi-final.
And then I think the last question, you've been the head of delegation for Ireland now for several years, since 2013 and 2008 beforehand. Do you have many more Eurovisions left in you? Like, is this a big...
Do you know what? I love doing it. I mean, and I appreciate and for all the abuse I get online with people telling me to resign and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's fine. That's my job. You know, I'll take that on the chin. Look, I'll do it as long as I'm asked to do it in RTE. I mean, look, you know, I've met heads of delegations at the meeting in Lisbon who've been doing it for 20 years. You know, that may sound terrifying to some Eurovision fans out there, but no, look, I would certainly definitely like to see a final again, if not two. And, you know, look, the dream is to bring it back to Ireland, and I would love to be head of delegation when that happened.
And that'd be a great way to exit anyway, with the victory back in Dublin.
If I won it, I would hang up my hat. I would hang up my hat.
Well, best of luck in Lisbon and with the journey all the way up to then. And fingers crossed that Ireland might finally get back into the final.
I hope so, you know. I think we've got to do it.
Thanks for chatting to us.
Not at all. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.